Hello, it's David Allen and you are watching Sporting Icons.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware that Carlos Takam, he replaced big baby Jarrell Miller last night over on ESPN at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where he took on Forrest. Big baby Jarrell Miller, of course, tested positive for some PEDs and is currently under investigation. Now, Carlos Takam, 29 years old. We all know Carlos Takam. We've watched him fight many, many times. He's been in there with some of the best around. He really has. Alexander Povetkin, Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora, the list goes on. So Carlos Takam, he will always turn up to fight. He is afraid of no man, which is quite unusual as he's French. It must be the Cameroon in him, maybe. I'm only joking, French people. Now, when you have fighting behind closed doors with no crowd, it does seem a little less interesting. Now, had there been a crowd in there, maybe the fight would have been a bit more exciting, maybe. I don't know. But I've got a feeling that going forward, that some fights, especially when we start to see them properly here in the UK, as in starting tonight on BT Sport, if anybody doesn't know what the boxing schedule is for tonight and going forward, just go on my website, link in the description box. It's all ad-free. Google verified, all that kind of stuff, and you can see about 30 odd fight dates, which is way more than the boxing scene they probably do. Go pin it to your taskbar. Now, behind closed doors, it seems that some fighters can't really get up for it. Or maybe they are, it just looks different because there isn't really any kind of crowd participation, no noise, no anything like that. So maybe that's what it is. It's very, very possible. But Carlos Takam, he will always turn up to fight. I mean, he beat Forrest on points by unanimous decision, and it was always going to happen. He was always going to beat Forrest, and I've called Forrest a gatekeeper before, and some people got a little bit offended by that. There's nothing wrong with being a gatekeeper, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. In fact, there's nothing wrong with being a journeyman. At the end of the day, they're doing something that they love. But Carlos Takam, now it was a late-minute replacement for Forrest, so I mean, we can certainly give him that. Of course, he was preparing for a much bigger guy in Jarrell Miller, but of course that thing fell through, as we all know. But Carlos Takam, I mean, after the fight, he says that he wants a top 5 opponent next, or potentially a world title shot. World title shot ain't going to happen anytime soon, but for me, I'd like to see Carlos Takam in there with maybe a rematch with Joseph Parker. That'd be an interesting one, or a rematch with Derek Chisora. Maybe Carlos Takam versus Luis Ortiz. But of course, you're always going to have that cross-promotion network situation. Now, Takam is part of Top Rank, and with Luis Ortiz, for example, part of the PBC. They don't really like working together unless they can really, really help it. But Carlos Takam, you know, he gets the win, and he's keeping active. And there's a lot of fighters out there right now who don't want to come back and fight behind closed doors. That they see it as a glorified or a professional, we should say, sparring session. That's pretty much how they're seeing it, and they want crowd participation, which I can understand from one point, because it gives you that fire in the belly. It gives you that, I ain't gonna lay down here because there's X amount of people in the arena, I ain't gonna lay down. But Carlos Takam, he seems like, I think he needs a crowd. I mean, he did perform, he did turn up to win, and he won. Now, to be honest, I was expecting him to stop Forrest. That is one thing, but at the same time, fighters have been inactive. How much training have they really done? How much sparring have they really done? So the fact that Carlos Takam did actually turn up, and Forrest did actually turn up, is great. And of course, with the rest of the card as well. But either way, Carlos Takam, he gets the win, unanimous decision, and congratulations to him. And I would like to see him in there with a couple of the top guys. But him being on Top Rank, it's not always going to be easy to do, because they don't have a plethora of heavyweights over on Top Rank outside of Tyson Fury and one or two others. So either way, be interesting to see what happens with Carlos Takam next. So congratulations to Carlos Takam for getting the win. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all in the next video.